Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Program.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Devine, and I'm your host today for Encounter. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Martin Luther King celebration in light of Martin Luther King Day, which is this month. I'm joined here today by Donna Spearman and James Pogue. I'm welcoming both of you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and join me.
Thank you.
I guess we'll start, maybe Donna, you can tell me a little bit about yourself and what brings you here.
Well, I've lived here for 43 years. I moved here right after I was married, a couple weeks after I was married. I come from Silver Spring, Maryland, where I had my basic education, was raised and graduated from Howard University, which was in Washington, D.C. And like many young people who come to this area, my husband said, give me 2 years, we'll get my career started, and then we'll move more toward the greater Washington metropolitan area. And I've been here ever since. I worked for the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities for over 30 years, which I totally enjoyed, and I like working with people.
It's awesome. We are so lucky to have you here.
Thank you.
James, I'm very happy to meet you. Actually, it's our first time meeting, and maybe you could tell me a little bit and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I came here not quite 43 years ago. I came here in 2001. I came here after I finished my PhD at the University of Arizona, and I was recruited here to work at Binghamton University, and I was the director of their Educational Opportunity Program. I really enjoyed the recruiting and retaining of students, the hard work that was there, and the great people that I got opportunity to work with. Did a lot of really good work there, and then decided in 2008, 2009 to start something called the College Doctor, where I set out on my own to work with colleges and universities to recruit students either into their particular colleges and universities or to help the parents in high schools get better at graduating those students and prepping them for what's next for them.
Wow. So you're still local now?
Yes, I do a lot more travel. We were just talking a moment ago about it on a plane from Ohio to Texas. I just came here from Texas not too long ago, so I really enjoy the travel itself, going to different colleges and universities, but really seeing that the issues are the same nationwide. Issues of poverty, issues of race, issues of economics, ethnicity, spirituality, religion, all of those things are the same in terms of how we are trying to get people to think about what's next in their lives.
Oh, okay. Well, that brings me to actually the celebration, the upcoming celebration. We've got something giant coming up here, and Donna, if you'd like to give me just we're going to talk about the Martin Luther King celebration at Central United Methodist Church firstly.
Yes.
If you.
This will make the 28th year that we've celebrated the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As always, it is held at Central United Methodist Church on the Sunday before the Monday holiday. So this year it will be on Sunday, January the 18th at 3 o'clock at Central. All are welcome. The program is free and open to the community. We do lift a free will or love offering if people choose to give, so we can use it for our scholarship program, for which we've already given one scholarship. This year is going to be really scintillating and wonderful. I have a young woman who has a lot of energy. Her name is Stacy Morrow. She comes to us from the college. She's the college coordinator of career and international programs at the College of Community and Public Affairs at Binghamton University. She has a lot of energy, and you get that sort of scintillation from when she talks. She's going to approach, I think, Dr. King's legacy. She calls it energizing through education, examining the legacy of Dr. King. And I think she's going to talk about being educated on your issues, know what you're talking about, be informed, research your facts, and sort of put in front of you what you actually believe in and how you can achieve this through faith and with a faith basis. And that's important because first and foremost, Dr. King was Reverend King. He was a minister, and so I think it's going to be wonderful. The program will end with our traditional candle lighting ceremony where we hold hands around the church there and hold our candles. And we will sing "We Shall Overcome." And that will be followed by a reception in our fellowship hall downstairs.
Okay.
So it's nice.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it the past couple times I've gone. It's been really, you feel something when you're there and something to take with you.
Yes.
Ask you a question. So how did you get involved with this celebration?
Well, I think it was in 1985. We had a wonderful pastor. It was James Baker, who came to me a couple months before the King holiday, and of course it hadn't been, approved in every state, passed in every state, but told me that he thought that that was something very important and would I like to work on celebrating it in some way. And with that, our associate pastor, Jan Clark, worked with me on it, and we just sort of developed it. We started out with an ecumenical approach, inviting all the local churches to join us in planning it and being a part of it. Some did, and some didn't, and that was fine, but they came. And then, as things go on, things change. Central went it alone, so we're doing it.
So you've been there since the very beginning, is what you're telling me.
Meeting.
That's so amazing.
Yes.
That's so amazing.
Yes.
So you mentioned you take up an offering, a love offering.
Yes.
Now you do what with the money?
We use it for scholarships. We have never used a penny of the money given to us during the celebration for anything to put on the program.
Wow.
We used to give it to various community organizations, but then we decided, Dr. King believed in education. Why don't we try to do that? So we do that. We look sort of for a non-traditional student, meaning it doesn't have to be a student that's coming straight out of high school going to college. It can be someone going back to school, being retrained, re-educated, but it can be a student out of college. And someone has to nominate that student. We have a nomination form for them to fill out and to write why they think the person deserves it and what characteristics of that person's mirror or the characteristics of Dr. King.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it just can only keep going on. It's got to. It's so amazing.
Yes.
James, have you ever been involved in any other celebrations other than?
Absolutely. I mean, from the time that I came here in 2001, one way or another, when the King holiday comes around, there's something to be involved in the community. And so whether it is attending an event like what Central Methodist is doing, or one of the marches that happens in the communities, or attending one of the high school situations that happens, so I've given a variety of speeches or workshops that may happen, or attended them myself so that I can get fed, if you will, from that. I think it's critical to what you were saying about Dr. King's sort of interest and focus in education. I mean, people sometimes forget that, he received his PhD from Boston at, he was about 29. And it was not just that he was interested in education, right? It was also that how he approached it, that his study was looking at two different theologists and comparing their look at religion and spirituality with his. And so it was one, it is recognizing these different approaches to ways to articulating religion and including his in sort of not necessarily an equal measure, but in a way of respecting diversity. And I think that that's critical too, that we have to remember that he was many, many things. He was a very complicated man, like many of us are, and that when we approach the celebration of his time here, that we also take a look at that complication. And that education is for everyone. College may not be for everyone, but education is absolutely for everyone.
You just mentioned diversity, and I think that common thread that we see through all the diversity, it's what brings us together as human beings.
Absolutely.
Possibly what the entire recognition of this holiday is about. You talk a lot about education, so what is exactly you do? You have something that goes on in your life that uplifts education?
Sure. So at its basis, what I do is to try to get people to explore what's next, particularly high school students or non-traditional students, as you mentioned. So when you leave high school, you need to do something after that to get yourself trained for whatever's next. The world is changing in a variety of ways. So whether that's becoming a barber, or that's becoming a plumber, or going to college, become a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is that you want to do, we need to explore what's next. So one of the avenues that I've done in trying to make that happen is something I call the Men's Summit. This year will be our 6th year upcoming in September. We've hosted the last 2 in the Binghamton area. The 3 before that were up in Rochester, Brockport area. And we've probably worked with, definitely hundreds and hundreds of young men who have come in to have a conversation about what they can do to improve themselves, high school, middle school, collegiate level. And workshops are hosted by men that are a little bit further along, whether they are in their 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s. We do our best to get a keynote speaker who has a lot of depth and a capacity to give and motivate these young men. And so pushing them through that is critically important. We're going to be adding something to it this year. I'm calling it the College Summit component of the Men's Summit. The biggest difference between those individuals who end up going to college and those that don't is economics. So how can we try to create some balance there? Currently, in a wealthy school district, those students that have a D average go to school at the same rate as students with an A average in impoverished school districts.
Really?
We can do something about that. We can absolutely do something about that. It's about focusing our energy and time. And what we often need to do, or what I think that we need to do, is help those students begin to tell their stories. Those students who have perseverance, that are motivated, that have a certain level of dedication, and have a drive to succeed in education are the kinds of candidates that would do very well at many, many universities across the country. But how do we help them tell their stories? And so that's what we're going to be focusing on this year at the Men's Summit.
Wow. And when does that typically happen?
Mid-September. Last year was September 20th. This coming year it'll be September 19th.
Okay. Do you have like a website that?
Sure, thecollegedoctor.com.
Okay.
And if you go there, you will see right there on the front, you will see where we have our Men's Summit information. Our stuff is there from last year. You can take a look at the presenters that we had last year, the theme that we had for last year. We're building our theme for this year. Last year we had Visions was our platinum sponsor. We're very happy about that. Looking forward to continuing that relationship, building relationship with other organizations, and helping to flower it out. I mean, it was we doubled the amount of participants that we had last year.
That's amazing.
So the interest is there, the drive is there, again, with a focus on this economic piece, that if you simply do not have the dollars and resources to connect to the ideas of education, how can we connect them to you? I think that's part of our job as a responsible community.
Right. Everyone should have the same chance.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see here. I've got a quote here. This is a actual quote from Mrs. Coretta Scott King. As a nation chooses its heroes and heroines, a nation interprets its history and shapes its destiny. The commemoration of the life and work of Martin Luther King Jr. can help America realize its true destiny as the global model for democracy, economic and social justice, and as the first nonviolent society in human history. I guess I was going to ask, so we've all been watching the news, young and old, since the Ferguson verdict. Do you believe that there's been conversation on race in Broome County? And what kind of conversation?
I personally don't know. I don't live in Broome County, and no one has contacted me. I did receive an email from someone. It was from one of the organizations that